Oh, baby, there ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no.
Hey guys, how you doing? Happy Labor Day. Wow. Ain't no mountain high enough. Are we going to climb that mountain on November 8th and make history? Absolutely. Man, Cleveland does rock. Wow, Cleveland does rock. It is so good to be here, and it's especially good to be here on Labor Day when we acknowledge all the hard work, all the history that's been made by unions, labor, and working people in this country. Give it up. Give it up for unions. Give it up for labor. I want to do a few thank yous because it takes a lot of great people to put an event like this together. First, your Congresswoman, Marcia Fudge. Isn't she the best? She did such a good job for us at the convention. Such a good job. So great to have her here. Boy, as we were doing some thank yous and photos, everybody who came through the line, she gave us who they were and everything about them in 7.5 seconds. I've never seen a presentation so good, your Congresswoman. In the U.S. Senate, I have no better friend than Sherrod Brown. Sherrod and Connie are sitting right there. You are so lucky to have Sherrod. And you're going to be lucky on the evening of November 8th when they call this election and you add another great Democrat, Ted Strickland, to the United States Senate. My friend Ted, we were governors together and we spent a lot of good time together when we were governors together, and it's great to be here with you, Ted. Congresswoman Beatty, thank you so much. Give it up for Joyce Beatty and her husband. And then your mayor, Mayor Jackson, so good to be with you. Thank you so much. Give him a round of applause. And then what a treat to be standing here on stage with these great labor leaders. President Trumka, AFL-CIO. What a great friend, Rich. I got to know him when he was head of the United Mine Workers. We've got a big mine workers presence in Virginia. He's a guy who's always told it straight, always had my back, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate your leadership to this day. Thank you. Randy Weingarten with the AFT. Give her a round of applause. And raise your hand if you're an educator so we can give you all a round of applause. To our educators. And then your hometown guy, Ask Me International President Lee Saunders. Give it up for Lee. Now, I know that there are other electeds here, too. In particular, I think Tim Ryan might be here. Give Tim Ryan a round of applause. I think he was here earlier. Look, this is a big day because I think you know Labor Day sort of starts the home stretch of the campaign. So do we feel like battle-tested and ready for the home stretch so that we can make history and elect Hillary Clinton on the 8th of November? And Ohio's going to be there, right? You guys have a habit of being there because you know how to do it. You know how to do it. You know how to make the grassroots work so that we can move progress in this nation forward. And that's what we're going to do on November 8th with Hillary. Can I just tell you, I'm going to talk for a few minutes and then I'm going to bring her out. I know we're really here for her, but I want to tell you how proud I am to be on this ticket. And I want to tell you something about Hillary. When she called and asked if I'd be on the ticket, she said something really important that tells you the way she thinks about the job she's going to have to do. She asked me and I started to say yes, and she said, no, be quiet, I haven't told you why yet. She said, look, the test of a Clinton administration will not be a bill signing. It will not be the margin by which something passes in the House or the Senate. That's not going to be the test. The test is going to be, do we do something that makes a classroom better for a teacher that wants to teach and a child that wants to learn? That will be the test. Can we do something that will make it safer in a neighborhood, or that will make it easier for parents around the table as they're talking about how to afford college for their kids? Can we do something that will make a workplace safer, or a business more able to hire people, or a worker find that they can get skills more easy, or a job more easy? No, the test is going to be, in a Clinton administration, can we make a tangible, concrete, significant difference in the lives of everyday Americans? That's going to be the test. Folks, that tells you something about who Hillary Clinton is. She's focused upon everyday folks. She's running against a guy who's been sitting up on the penthouse, and he doesn't even understand the lives of everyday folks, and he's not focused on making the lives of everyday folks any better. And so she said, look, you've been a mayor, you've been a governor, you've been a senator. I think you can help me figure out how to make sure that what we do impacts people in their daily lives. So needless to say, I'm proud to be on a ticket with the woman who is the most qualified person to be president that either party has nominated for a very long time and probably ever. And can I tell you something that really made me mad today? Donald Trump put out a tweet today about our nominee for president, and the tweet essentially said, she doesn't look presidential, does she, fellas? Wait, listen to that again. Listen to that again. This is what he said. She doesn't look presidential, does she, fellas? Does she, fellas? Here's my prediction. At the end of the second term of Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump will still be saying that very same thing as he's hawking bottled water somewhere, and we've forgotten that he ever ran for president of the United States. It is important that we're here on Labor Day. I grew up in a labor house. Just a quick story. My dad ran an iron worker organized welding and metal shop in the stockyards of Kansas City, Missouri. And my dad's shop, some of these guys have heard me tell this story, 5 employees in a bad year, 12 employees in a good year, plus my 2 brothers and me and my mom. And here's what my dad taught me. He taught me that his business judgment would put his workers' kids through school, but he always taught my brothers and me, and the artistry of my union iron workers will put you boys through school. It's about teamwork. It's about working together. It's about shared prosperity. That's what this country is built on, and that's what our ticket and our party stand for. Shared prosperity, the value of hard work, and the fact that we can do more and that we are stronger together. Now, since the convention, when I got added to the ticket, the first thing we did is go right out on trail on a bus tour through Pennsylvania and Ohio to talk about building an economy that works for everybody. That is going to be the #1 test of the Clinton administration. Working together. Can we not put it in a brochure or put it in an ad, but can we implement it and do it so that people all over this country see that they have a ladder to climb, right? That they have a ladder to climb to prosperity. Thank goodness President Obama has brought us out of the worst recession since the 1930s. Thank goodness for him. And you all know he had to do that without one party in Congress lifting one finger to help him. It was very difficult to create 15 million new jobs, to cut the unemployment rate in half, to make pensions and retirement accounts worth something again. And we owe it to President Obama to thank him for what he has done. However, we also know in Ohio and Virginia, everywhere, there's more to do because there are too many people, and they might be in inner cities, they might be in rural America, they might be in coal country, they might be in Indian country, too many people who don't look out and see that they have a ladder that they can climb to success. And what we've got to do, what Hillary and I are bound and determined and promised to do, is work together with Congress to try to put some important new policies in place so that people see that ladder and we build an economy that works for all. And that's why we've been going around the country since the convention talking about what we're going to do. We're going to invest in manufacturing and infrastructure, and labor will be key to making those investments, hiring people, making them work. We're going to invest in education and skills, from early childhood education to giving our teachers the tools and flexibility they need to succeed in the classroom without a lot of top-down strings all over them from Washington. We're going to make college affordable, debt-free for Americans, and free community college for people who can't afford it. And we're going to reinvigorate career and technical training, because you don't just need a college degree to succeed. Union apprenticeship programs, career and technical education are a path to success in the 21st century. We're going to focus on that. We're going to focus on equity. Raising the minimum wage, for God's sake, so that you don't work full time in this country and be below the poverty level. Equal pay for women. I mean, what a novel concept that would be. Child care tax credit, so that a working parent can have a good job without spending too much of their money on high quality child care. We're going to do that. So it's about investments, it's about education, it's about equity, and it's also about knowing that small businesses are the backbone of our economy. 2/3 of jobs in this country created by small businesses. Hillary knows that from her family background, and I do too. That's what we're going to do. Hillary Clinton, folks, will be a "you're hired" president. Who here wants a "you're hired" president? Obviously. Obviously. Well, you know what kind of president Donald Trump is going to be. A "you're fired" president. I mean, there's sort of a poetic justice to the fact that when we think about Donald Trump before he was running for president, we knew him as a guy who was known for 2 words: "you're fired." When they tell you who they are, pay attention to it. That's who he is. That's the kind of president he'll be. And you see it with everything he's done when he was building casinos and golf course headquarters, and small businesses like my dad's would get the contract to do the work, and they would do the work, and they would pay their employees, and they would pay their material costs, and they would say, "I'm done, what do you think?" And they would be told, "Yeah, the work's great, well, pay me." And then Trump would stiff them. Hundreds of businesses he wouldn't pay. Some had to go into bankruptcy because he knew he was a big guy, and he thought he could just push aside the little guys. And they got hurt. They got hurt because they trusted Donald Trump. The students who gave him thousands of dollars to go to his bogus university got hurt because they trusted Donald Trump. Retirees who gave him money for condos in Florida and never got the condos got hurt because they trusted Donald Trump. And now Donald Trump wants us to trust him? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? He's doing a job interview. That's what this is. You know, we're out doing a job interview. You are interviewing us. You're interviewing Hillary and Donald to be president. And he's coming out and he says, "I want this job." And you say, "Well, let's see. Every president since Nixon, folks, has produced their tax returns. Why don't you produce their tax returns?" "No, I'm not going to do it." "Well, how about giving information about your health? You know, medical records." "No, I'm not going to do it." How about giving information about whether you owe money to Wall Street banks or the Bank of China?" "No, I'm not going to do it." If somebody came to your office and they wanted a summer job, and you asked them questions that were important and they didn't answer, would you give them the job? No. Then you cannot give the job of Commander-in-Chief, President of the United States, to a guy who won't answer the basic questions of the American public. We just can't do it. He must think we're gullible. He must think we're chumps. He must think we're marks, but we're not. Ohioans are not gullible. Virginians are not gullible. Americans are not gullible. And that's why we're not going to elect Donald Trump, and that's why we're going to support the "you're hired" president, Hillary Clinton. Last thing I want to say, this is an important thing to me. I made my career before I got into politics as a civil rights lawyer. I was doing fair housing litigation all over Virginia and in other states in the South. When somebody was turned away from housing because of their race or because of their disability, I would take the case and represent them in court. Often they couldn't find anybody else to represent them, but I did it because housing is so important, and everybody's entitled to be treated fairly regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of their disability. And you know, Hillary Clinton got out of law school and she could have gone to Wall Street, but instead she went to work with the Children's Defense Fund, fighting to advance civil rights in the juvenile justice system in South Carolina, the education system in Alabama. So this is what I did early, and this is what Hillary did early. And let me tell you about Trump's early career. He came into a family business, and shortly after he got deeply involved in it, he got sued by the Justice Department for discriminating against people based on the color of their skin. A massive fair housing lawsuit brought by the Justice Department, and the evidence was when applications would come in, if somebody had dark skin, Latino or African American, they would put a C on the application, and that would be the signal for that person to get second-class treatment. We do not need a president who thinks that any American should get second-class treatment. We're all equal in this country. We all deserve first-class treatment, and we got to have a president who understands that. Now, right before I introduce Hillary, I just want to say this. This is the home stretch. You know, we've done, a number of us have done multiple Labor Day events already to celebrate Labor, but also Labor Day is the start of the home stretch of the campaign. Between Labor Day and Election Day, that's when the focus is on, and that's when the spotlight is the greatest, and that's when we have to do our best work. And you know, you said thanks for coming to Ohio. No, I'm thanking you for coming out when we come to Ohio. We got to come to Ohio. We have to come to Ohio. You all know this. You're used to this. You're used to the fact that you are one of the 2 or 3 most important states in any presidential election going back since there were presidential elections. And that's why we're here with you. Now, here's what we know about the next 9 weeks. You're going to see a lot of negative ads on TV, right? I mean, Ted, you know the deal. A group can form and get money from some millionaire or billionaire. They can call themselves Citizens for Apple Pie. They don't tell you who they are. They put up a bunch of negative ads saying things that are largely false, and you can't connect them to it because they won't tell you who they are. Sadly, that's what campaigning has come to these days. But we Democrats, we know how to do this because we learned how to do it from Labor. We can beat all the negative ads. We can beat all the consultants. We can beat all the pollsters, and we can beat them by doing person to person, right? Isn't that what Ohio knows how to do? And that's how we win, even in a nation of 330 million people. You know, I'll tell you something. I think people now tune out the negative ads. Sherrod had a ton of that money spent against him in 2012, just like I did. But people kind of tune it out because they look at it and I don't know, they're not sure they can believe it. But can I tell you what they do believe? What people still believe deeply? They believe in a word from somebody they care about and from somebody they trust, a neighbor, somebody in their church, somebody they go to school with, somebody they work with. If you reach out and talk to them, you can persuade somebody who's undecided, or you can persuade somebody who is decided but may not vote that this is a very important election for the future of this country. Are you willing to do that? Make that person-to-person effort? And I'll tell you something else. They don't even have to know you. They really don't even have to know you. If you call somebody or knock on their door and say, I'm a volunteer for Hillary Clinton, what they're going to hear is volunteer. Wow, they didn't have to do this. They're doing it because they're passionate about it. And our citizens who are trying to decide, they want a word from somebody that they can talk to, somebody who can answer a question. You have the ability to make a difference and get people to take this seriously and see the consequences. And we know you know how to do it because Ohio always seems to figure out how to do it. So between now and November 8, we're just asking, raise your hand if you were already volunteering for the campaign. All right, give them a round of applause. That's great. For anybody who is not yet volunteering, you can do it. All you got to do is text together to 47246. That's all you have to do. Together, 47246. And then you will be brought into the campaign, and we can work real hard to make history on November 8. And then the real work starts, making history every day after November 8 with President Hillary Clinton. So now, let me do a great introduction. I have had a wonderful honor to be on this ticket for Hillary. We just did an interview before I came over, and somebody asked, what have you learned about her? And I said, I'll tell you something I suspected about her, but now I've learned it about her. This is one lady who never backs down. This is one lady who never backs down. From the time she was a teenager in a Methodist youth group, she's been impassioned and focused on the success of families and kids. And folks, whether she's been in office or out, whether she's winning or losing, whether she's getting something passed or having the other side knock it back, she does not forget where she came from. She does not forget what motivates her. And that's why I am so proud to say, I'm with Hillary. We're with Hillary. We're going to make history with Hillary. Please welcome Hillary Clinton, the next president of the United States.
Happy Labor Day. When we were trying to figure out where we could be, we all said, let's go to Cleveland. And I want to thank Congresswoman Marcia Fudge for hosting us. I've been talking so. Every time I think about Trump, I get allergic. Boy, we have 63 days to go. Well, thank you. Whoa. Well, you just heard the next vice president, didn't you? In addition to thanking Marcia Fudge, let me also thank your great Senator Sherrod Brown. Also, excuse me. Also, two other great members of Congress, Tim Ryan and Joyce Beatty. And your mayor, thanks to Mayor Jackson. And I hope that Ohio will send Ted Strickland to the Senate. Now, behind me are some of the great labor leaders of our country. Randy Weingarten, Lee Saunders, Rich Trumka. I'm proud to be on the same stage with them because they're always fighting for working families. Now, once I get over my allergic reaction, let me say that we're here in part because we know how important this election is to Ohio. It's not just, as Tim said, that Ohio is one of those battleground states you hear about every 4 years. It's that Ohio represents everything that's great about America and all of the challenges and the opportunities that we face. That's why this election is critical to every person in this state. And what I want to emphasize is I know we can't face our problems alone. We have to work together. We believe we are stronger together. And that is in stark contrast to Donald Trump. Remember what he said at his convention. He said, I alone can fix it. Now think of what that leaves out, my friends. That leaves out all of our troops on the front lines. It leaves out our police officers and firefighters who run toward danger. It leaves out doctors and nurses who care for us. It leaves out teachers and educators who care for the most important people in our lives, our children. It leaves out everybody except him. And when he says, "I alone can fix it," that clearly demonstrates he doesn't understand how America works, how we got great and why we are great today, and what we need to do together to face the future. Because our campaign is about we will fix it together. We will work together. We will bring our country together. And what better example of that are our labor unions? They are built on the principle of solidarity. They look out for each other. They fight for fair wages and collective bargaining for safe working conditions. Just last week, we learned once again, because another study came out that confirms what we already knew. When more workers are in unions, wages are higher. And not just for union members, but for all workers. That's why if Tim and I are elected, we're going to say no to a tax on unions, no to rolling back collective bargaining, no to unfair trade deals like TPP, no to pension cuts that deny you the secure retirement that you've earned, no to right to work, because right to work is wrong for workers and wrong for America. But we're not just about saying no. We're going to say yes to standing up for workers' rights and dignity, yes to good jobs and benefits, yes to the American dream. It is big enough for everyone to share the promise. And so that's why during this campaign, I've been running a campaign based on issues, not insults. I believe anyone who asks for your vote should tell you what they're going to do. Starting tomorrow, you can read about the plans Tim and I have, because we're putting out a book. Does somebody have a copy of that book? Hey, somebody back there, you got a copy of the book? I can show the crowd. We're putting out a book called Stronger Together. That's more than a slogan for the campaign. That's a guiding principle for the future we want to build. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, some people say, wait a minute, you've got so many plans. Well, you're right. I do have plans. You know why? Because I want you to know what I want to do to help you and what kind of results we're going to work to achieve. I have this old-fashioned idea that if you're asking somebody to vote for you, they ought to tell you what they want to do and then hold you accountable when you get elected. And I'll tell you what, our plans start with the very simple idea that we're going to get the economy to work for everyone, not just those at the top. We're going to do it with the biggest investment in new jobs that we've had since World War II. More infrastructure jobs, advanced manufacturing jobs, clean renewable energy jobs. Anyone willing to work hard should have a job that can support them and their families, a job with dignity, with only the future to be proud of, not to worry about. We're also going to offer new solutions for families. Families are different today than they were in the 1950s, for heaven's sakes. So we need to make sure we help support families the way they are today, not way back when, helping people support and balance family and work with paid family leave, earned sick days, affordable child care, and finally guaranteeing equal pay for women's work. And here's our book. It's called Stronger Together for a reason. You can read about what we want to do on the economy and everything else. It'll be available starting tomorrow, because the choice for families has never been clearer. Just look at Donald Trump's track record when it comes to hardworking men and women. I know, I'm allergic to it too, but you have to look at his record. There may be people you know who are thinking about voting for him. And you know, friends don't let friends vote for Trump. And here's what you can tell him, among many things. He hired a union-busting firm to break up an organizing campaign at his hotel in Las Vegas. He built his career on refusing to pay workers, plumbers, painters, glass installers, marble installers, people who did work for him, and then he refused to pay them. He stiffed small businesses like my dad. My dad and Tim's dad had really small businesses that gave us a good middle-class life. I am just so grateful my father never got a contract from Donald Trump. My dad worked hard. He printed drapery fabrics. And I would go help him sometimes. And there'd be a long table in his print plant. And the fabric would be rolled out. And then the silk screens would be laid down. And then you'd pour the paint in. Then you take the squeegee and you push it across the screen. You lift it up. You go all the way down. Then you go to the second table all the way back. Then when he finished, he'd load those drapery fabrics into his car and he'd deliver them. I don't know what would have happened to my family if he had done a big job thinking it was a good deal for Trump, and he gets there and the Trump people say, we're not going to pay you. And then after harassing, maybe they say, okay, we'll pay you 30 cents on the dollar. He's driven hardworking people into bankruptcy and taken 6 bankruptcies himself. Now, here in Ohio, you know very much that a president makes decisions that affect people's lives and livelihoods. When millions of jobs were on the line in the auto industry, President Obama made the right decision to save the auto industry. I know we've got some UAW members here. I was proud to support him then. I'm even prouder now that the auto industry just had its best year ever. Think how differently things could have turned out. I know this is hard to imagine if it had been Donald Trump in the Oval Office. Last year, remember this, last year, he said it didn't matter whether or not we saved the auto industry. Either way would have been acceptable. He said we could have just let it go. Never mind the 850,000 people in Ohio and millions more across the country whose jobs and paychecks were tied to the auto industry. Now, what else could we expect from someone whose most famous words are, "You're fired"? This is the kind of difference that this election really poses. People like Tim and me who want to create more good jobs with rising wages and benefits for everybody willing to work hard. That's the basic bargain of America. And somebody who stiffed people, took bankruptcy and laid off people. One of his bankruptcies put 1,000 people out of work. Every time you hear him talk about how he knows how to create jobs, just look at the facts. Educate yourself and your friends and your colleagues, because the kind of bluster and wild claims that he makes about everybody and everything don't stand up to any scrutiny. The same is true when it comes to whether we keep our country safe. Stronger together means working with our allies and our partners, right? We're not just electing a president, we're electing a commander-in-chief. So when Donald Trump says, and I quote, "I know more about ISIS than the generals do," when he claims, as he has, that our armed forces are a disaster, or he insults a Gold Star family, that's not just wrong and offensive, that's dangerous. Our military is a national treasure, And a president must respect the men and women who risk their lives and wear the uniform of our country. Some of you know Tim Kaine's son is deployed right now. He's a Marine. Tim and I will not only respect our men and women in uniform, we will protect them, and we will ensure that they are given the resources that they need to do the dangerous missions we ask them to do on our behalf. Now, last week, we saw even more evidence that Trump is temperamentally unfit and totally unqualified to be president. In just a few hours, he managed to turn his trip to Mexico into an embarrassing international incident. He even got into a Twitter war with the president of Mexico. And then he delivered his most hate-filled, hardline speech yet, doubling down on his absurd plans to send a deportation force to round up 16 million people to deport them. Now, you can't make this stuff up, can you? He can try to distract with divisive, dangerous rhetoric. He can try to fool voters into thinking somehow he's not as harsh and inhumane as he seems, but it's too late. When you see what he has said and done in this campaign, when you see that he can't even go to a foreign country without getting into a public feud with the president, I think the answer is clear. Donald Trump does not have the temperament to be our commander-in-chief. Imagine him in a real crisis. I've said it before, and I believe it. A man you can bait with a tweet cannot be trusted with nuclear weapons. Now look, I know that these elections are always tight and hard. I'm not taking anybody anywhere for granted. That's why we're here today, because we need your help. We need to make sure we have an election that validates the kind of positive future that will make life better for the people of Ohio. And empty promises and racist attacks won't do that. It won't get your family a job. It won't keep our troops safe. It won't heal the divides in America. I've spent my life fighting for kids and families. During the fight for health reform, some of you remember, powerful interests blocked our way, but I didn't give up. I turned around, I worked with Republicans and Democrats to help pass the Children's Health Insurance Program that covers 8 million kids today. That's how you deliver real results. You can't get discouraged, you can't give up, you can never quit. But you got to start from the right values and principles. You've got to believe in our country. You've got to believe in the American people. I'm asking for your help in these next 2 months. I'm asking you to reach out to your friends, your neighbors, your family, everybody you can possibly touch. I'm asking you to join this campaign. You can go to HillaryClinton.com, or you can text JOIN, J-O-I-N, to 47246, because we want to win Ohio. But you know, we don't want to just win it for the sake of winning it. We want to win it so that we can go on to the White House next January and get to work for you. We want to win it so we can take all the plans and all the ideas that will improve your lives, that will get the economy working for everybody, not just those at the top, which will help make education affordable so college is within reach of everyone, and help you pay back your student debt. We want to defeat ISIS, keep our alliances strong. We want to break down the barriers that hold any American back. That's why we're running. We're not running because it's a nice thing to do after you have a reality TV show, right? We're running because between Tim and I, we have a lot of years of public service. And we believe in what we can do together. And we believe that we can make our country even greater. So please join the campaign. Be part of us having an American future that is better than the past, that creates the opportunities for every single man, woman, and child. Thank you, and God bless you.